Hey friends, imagine this. What if Noah's Ark is really sitting on top of a mountain, just waiting for someone like me to find it? Or is it all just a crazy story my grandma used to tell me by the fireplace, her voice trembling with excitement? I couldn't shake this mystery, so I decided to dive in myself. Let's figure out where that legendary ship might be hiding. Welcome to this wild adventure, guys. For weeks, I've been obsessed with one question. Where the heck is Noah's Ark? You know the story. God floods the world. Noah builds a giant boat, saves the animals, and lands on a mountain. But when I started digging, I realized the Bible doesn't exactly give us a GPS pin. Is it on Mount Ararat in Turkey, like some say? Or is it lost forever in some forgotten valley? This has been driving me nuts, and I've been scrolling through old texts late at night, watching grainy documentaries, and even daydreaming about hiking up there myself. One evening, I sat with a cup of tea, staring at a map, tracing my finger over Ararat's peaks, wondering if I'd ever smell that mountain air. In this 20-minute journey, we're going to explore the clues I found, those weird archaeological hints on Mount Ararat, ancient tablets that might spill the beans, and all the conflicting stories that make my head spin. I'll throw in some crazy theories, like what if the church hid the ark on purpose to keep us guessing? And share my own wild ride as I imagine trekking through the snow to uncover the truth. I even thought about packing a backpack, grabbing a friend, and heading out. Maybe I'd find a local guide who knows the mountain's secrets, or a shepherd with wild tales. Whether you're a believer who loves a good Bible mystery, or just here for a thrilling tale, stick with me. We're about to uncover some lost traces together. Section 1. The Clues on Mount Ararat. Man, this whole thing started when I got curious about Mount Ararat in Turkey. I'd heard rumors for years that Noah's Ark might be up there, frozen in the ice, just waiting for someone like me to stumble across it. So, I grabbed my laptop and started digging into what people have found. Back in the 1950s, a guy named George J. Green claimed he saw a massive boat-shaped structure sticking out of the snow. Said it was 500 feet long, just like the Bible describes. I got chills reading that, imagining the cold wind hitting my face as I stood there, my scarf flapping in the breeze. Then, in the 1980s, some explorers snapped photos of what looked like wooden beams, and I was hooked. I could almost picture myself climbing that icy slope, flashlight in hand, brushing snow off those ancient planks, my breath visible in the freezing air, wondering if Noah once touched the same wood. But here's where it gets messy. Archaeologists say those beams are just natural rock formations, nothing man-made about them. They call it the Ararat anomaly, and they're all like, nah, it's just a trick of the light. I don't buy it, though. How do you explain the eyewitnesses who swear they saw something? I found old Sumerian tablets that talk about a great flood and a man who built a boat, and it feels too close to Noah's story to be a coincidence. I even read about a 2010 expedition where they used radar and found weird shapes under the ice. My heart raced thinking about it, picturing a team huddling around the screen. I started imagining a snowy trek, slipping on rocks, but finding that holy ship at the top, maybe with a carved nameplate still intact, or even a pigeon nest from Noah's dove. The more I looked, the more I wondered, what if someone's hiding the real evidence? I mean, the Turkish government controls that mountain, and they're pretty strict about who gets to explore. Some folks online say the church might have buried the ark to keep it a mystery, or worse, to control the narrative and keep the faithful in line. I spent hours staring at maps, dreaming of sneaking past guards with a shovel, uncovering the truth myself. I even pictured asking a local shepherd, "Hey, seen any giant boats lately?" while sipping tea in a mountain village. Was this a wild goose chase, or was I onto something big? Every clue made me want to pack a bag and head to Ararat, maybe with a thermos of hot coffee and a sketchbook to draw what I'd find. Section 2. Ancient Tablets and Conflicting Tales. Okay, bro, this part blew my mind even more. I started reading about these ancient tablets from places like Mesopotamia, and they're wild. There's this Epic of Gilgamesh, written way before the Bible, and it talks about a guy named Utnapishtim, who survives a flood by building a huge boat. Sound familiar? I was sitting there with my coffee thinking, wait, is this Noah's story on steroids? The details match. Animals, a dove sent out, landing on a mountain. It's crazy. I could almost hear the waves crashing as I read, picturing a stormy sea under a dark sky, lightning flashing overhead. Then I found the Sumerian king list, which mentions a flood that wiped out kings. And I was like, dude, this is the same event. I imagined ancient scribes hunched over clay, carving these stories while the water receded, their hands trembling from the cold. But here's the twist. The Bible says Noah landed on the mountains of Ararat, which is vague as heck. Some scholars argue it's Mount Ararat. Others say it could be a whole range in the region, maybe even a hidden plateau no one's explored. I got lost in these debates, imagining myself hiking from peak to peak, searching for that one spot, maybe with a guide pointing at a distant ridge while snow fell softly. Then I stumbled on a theory that the church tweaked the story to fit their agenda. Maybe they picked Ararat to sound official, but the real spot's somewhere else, like a secret valley guarded by wolves. I read about a guy named Ron Wyatt who claimed he found the Ark in a different valley nearby, but scientists laughed him off. Still, I couldn't help wondering, did they hide his findings to keep the mystery alive? I pictured Wyatt showing me a photo, whispering, "They don't want you to know," over a campfire. I spent nights comparing these tablets to the Bible, picturing ancient scribes rewriting history under candlelight, maybe arguing about where to place the ark. Maybe the flood happened, but the location got messed up over time, or someone changed it on purpose to fit a new religion. I even dreamed of finding a tablet myself, buried under sand, with a map to the ark, maybe with a sketch of a dove on it and a note in cuneiform. The conflicting tales made me dizzy, but they also fired me up. What if the truth's out there and I'm the one to crack it? I grabbed a notebook and started sketching my imaginary expedition. Snow, ruins, and maybe a big wooden bow sticking out, with me posing for a selfie next to it, grinning like a kid. Section 3. The Church and Science Conspiracy? All right, this is where it gets juicy, bro. I started thinking, who benefits from keeping the Ark a secret? The church, maybe? I dug into some old records and found that back in the Middle Ages, they were super strict about controlling what people believed. The Ark story was a big deal for faith, proof of God's power. But what if they found it and decided, nah, let's not show it. People might ask too many questions about our rules. I imagined priests sneaking up Ararat, covering it with snow, whispering, "This stays hidden." It sounds wild, but I've seen weirder conspiracies online, like secret societies guarding ancient relics in hidden caves. I even pictured a priest slipping me a note, saying, "Look deeper," while I hid behind a rock. Then there's science, throwing cold water on everything. They say there's no evidence of a global flood, that the ark couldn't hold all those animals, and that the wood would have rotted by now. Boring. But I found a study saying sediment layers in the region suggest a massive flood thousands of years ago. Hello, proof. I pictured myself arguing with a scientist, waving that report, saying, "See, it's real," while he adjusted his glasses nervously. Some explorers claim they've carbon-dated wood from Ararat, but the results get buried fast. Maybe in a lab vault somewhere, guarded by stern guards. What if big science is in on it, suppressing findings to keep their theories intact and avoid rewriting textbooks? I spent hours watching shaky YouTube videos of ark hunters, dreaming of joining them with my own camera, maybe filming a dramatic reveal with a snowy backdrop. The more I thought about it, the crazier it got. What if the church and scientists teamed up to hide it? I imagined a secret meeting, old men in robes and lab coats deciding, let's keep the world guessing, over a table of old maps. I even pictured myself sneaking into a vault, finding a dusty ark piece, maybe a plank with an animal carving, and running off with it, heart pounding, dodging laser beams. Was this paranoia, or was I uncovering a cover-up? Every late-night scroll made me more determined to solve this myself, maybe with a flashlight, a prayer, and a lucky charm from home. Section 4. My Imaginary Journey and Reflections. Man, this mystery got me so hooked I started planning my own trip. I pictured myself flying to Turkey, renting gear, and hiking up Mount Ararat with a crew of friends. The air would be crisp, the snow crunching under my boots, and I'd be scanning the horizon for that boat-shaped shadow. I'd bring a drone, maybe, to get aerial shots, and I'd feel my heart race as we neared the anomaly. I imagined asking a local, "Hey, any old wood up there?" while sharing bread with him. Online, people talk about avalanches and permits, but in my head, I was dodging guards, finding a hidden cave with the ark inside, wooden planks, animal cages, and maybe a rusty nail from Noah's toolbox, still smelling of pitch. But then I'd wake up, back in my room, and think about what it all means. Is the ark a symbol of hope, or just a story to keep us in line, like a bedtime tale with a lesson? I started wondering if the church hid it to protect faith, or if science ignored it to protect their facts and avoid admitting a mistake. Maybe it's both. Lost in time, a puzzle no one wants to solve, guarded by snow and silence. I spent days sketching maps, watching storm footage from Ararat, imagining Noah stepping off that boat with a tired smile, his family cheering behind him. Some nights I'd dream of standing there, touching the wood, feeling the history in my hands, maybe hearing Noah's voice saying, "Thanks for finding me," while a dove flew overhead. For me, this journey changed how I see old stories. I used to take the Bible at face value, but now I'm asking, what else got buried? I even started wondering about other lost relics. Maybe Moses' staff is out there too, hidden in a desert cave. The ark might not be up there, but the search itself taught me to question everything, to dig deeper than the surface. I thought about writing a book. My quest for the ark, with all my sketches, dreams, and a chapter on the coffee I drink on that mountain. What about you, bro? Does this make you want to grab a backpack and hunt for it? Or do you think it's all just a myth spun by ancient storytellers? I'd love to hear your take as we wrap this up. I feel like I've only scratched the surface. Maybe I'll go back one day with better gear. Conclusion. Wow, what a ride, friends. Noah's Ark might be lost on Mount Ararat, hidden by the church, or just a legend we'll never prove. From ancient tablets to snowy peaks, this story's got me hooked and a little spooked. Was it real, Or did someone cover it up to control what we believe, maybe to keep us obedient? I'm still not sure, and I'd love your thoughts. I might even save up for that trip next year, maybe with a better camera and a warm jacket. Drop your theories below. Think the ark's up there, or did I waste my time dreaming under the stars? Like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more crazy mysteries. We're just getting started. Next time, we'll chase another lost secret that might blow your mind, maybe something underwater or buried in sand. Keep exploring, bro, because the truth's out there waiting. Catch you next time, and let's keep the adventure alive with every step.